Okay, so this is also kind of weaving around the same topics. How do you apply healthy boundaries in different cultures? I told you I'm getting ready to go to a culture that is very different than the American culture.
Yeah.
You've got people all over the world. How do we apply these?
Yeah, I got hit with this. This has been a few years back. I was teaching in a setting, multicultural setting, and I mean internationally. And there was a group of women from an Asian country. And I could, how you can tell when somebody's not with you, they're frumping, when you're up talking.
Yes.
And I could tell they were kind of, pushing back.
Yeah.
So during the break, I kind of said, well, hey, what's going on? And broken English. And they said, this could never work in our culture. And because they talked about revering the elders and past generations and all that. And what came to me, and I'm not saying it's a perfect answer, but what came to me is we're called to enter and build the kingdom of God,
right,
which is a culture. So I believe it's our challenge, no matter what culture we're a part of, to figure out where our culture and God's culture align and where they don't. And now, do I say you just blow it up and make everybody mad or whatever? I mean, occasionally you may have to. But for the most part, if you just incrementally begin to shift toward a more biblical kingdom culture, again, ultimately, my responsibility, your responsibility is to express the kingdom of heaven and earth. Not, if it can be done through the coloration of your culture, that's wonderful.
Right.
But if it can't, then it's your culture that needs to shift.
Yeah, and a lot of cultures, I don't, want to act like the Western culture is a kingdom culture. Everything about the kingdom is very counterculture most of the times.
Right.
Okay, so here's another one. What are appropriate boundaries in instances where abuse is present? This is not an easy one.
No, I mean, legally as a counselor, you have things you have to adhere to. They call it the duty to warn. You have to, if you know there's physical abuse happening, sexual abuse. Verbal abuse would be a little trickier, but you have a legal obligation to report. From a spiritual standpoint, my thing is to honor the spirit of the marriage or the spirit of whatever the relationship is, but let's assume it's something as serious as a marriage. I believe you can honor the spirit of the marriage, but still take appropriate steps to protect the person.
So if I'm a wife and I'm in a situation where I feel that my safety is threatened,
right,
not just my husband's saying things that are hurting my heart, but my safety is threatened, what would you say to me?
I would say to you that we have an obligation to report it to the proper authorities.
Okay.
And let's get you somewhere safe.
Yeah.
And hopefully we would have a church community and family that would be able to accommodate that temporarily while we figured out a longer-term solution.
Yeah, I think that there should be a group of men that women that feel threatened by some other man in their life, they can, the women in the church can call, those brothers show up and they escort the husband out. I think that's what should happen.
I thought you said they were going to come over and work the guy over.
Yeah,
and I
well,
was
that would be the Sicilian part of me saying that.
It's a creative solution.
But I do think a lot of times we have blurred these lines in the church.
Absolutely.
And things that are illegal should not just be handled alone in the church. If it's illegal, you need to bring someone outside of the church when it breaks the law. And I hope you understand, we're giving you permission. We don't want you to be at risk. We don't want you to not be safe. We don't want your children to not be safe. We don't want you to say, oh, but I'm trying to cover for my husband. No, you're not uncovering your husband by protecting your children. Your husband uncovered himself when he made those choices. So we want you safe. And you know what? When there's consequences, that's a catalyst for change. So.